name is Bobby Jones, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Peace First, which is a nonprofit that is focused on helping young people compassionately solve injustices around the world. Now, before I was in my current role at Peace First, I worked on the agency side. I'm sure, like many of you, I worked with global brands, and a large part of my work was helping those brands understand youth culture and create marketing campaigns and messages to help connect with them. Now, on the surface, on one hand, engaging and talking with young people as concerned citizens who want to change the world, and talking with young people as consumers who just want the latest and greatest can seem like two very different worlds of marketing. But increasingly, what we found is that those two worlds are actually becoming a lot closer connected. There are three key shifts that we've seen that are really kind of driving this. The first is a rise of a generation of young people. There's been a lot of talk about millennials, but even the generation younger than that, the Centennials and Gen Z, are increasingly conscious of the issues and injustices that are happening around the world and actually want to do something about it. And so that consciousness is actually having an impact on the way that brands talk with them. And we're seeing it today with the rise of activist brands and so forth. Where brands are realizing that they want to connect and be relevant to this young generation of people, that they must be able to speak to them and position their brands and products in ways that are much more closely aligned to the values and the things that they care about as citizens and not just as consumers. And the third shift that we've seen amongst the cultural influencers, the cool kids, the celebrities, the people that drive pop culture, is that we're seeing more and more of them be more outspoken about the issues that they care about. We're seeing a rise in activism within celebrity culture and among the influencers. And so these three converging shifts are really changing our society and our world and changing the world of commerce and culture. And so my writing partner and I, Affidel and Zeus, were very fascinated about this idea of this shift. And three specific areas. One, what was causing these shifts? Two, who were the people that were driving it? And three, what can we learn from them that we can share with so many people that were in marketing and creative fields and entrepreneurs who were really trying to figure out how to create greater meaning and purpose in their work and do things that really mattered. And so we started on this journey of writing this book called Good is the New Cool, and we wrote it with this singular purpose in mind, which is how do we serve the world changers, the innovators and the provocateurs who believe and uses business and culture as forces for good. And so we spent 3.5 years writing this book, and about 6 months ago we released it. And the book came out, and it just really resonated with people. In its first week, it became one of Amazon's top sellers. And we started seeing all of these posts on social media, on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and all these other people who were reading it, who were saying that, you know what, this book really just resonates with me. The stories, the idea that we can do work in our day jobs that matters, that actually impacts a greater good, that actually also makes money and also is really cool. And we don't have to choose between those things, really connected with people on a deep level. And one of the reasons why I think that we saw such a significant response to it is because what we're seeing is this, what we're calling this crisis of meaningfulness in marketing. So I'm going to show you this chart right here. And this is a survey done by Adobe. And I don't care what industry and profession you're in, you do not want to be on this list, right? This is a list of the least valuable professions in society, okay? And guess who's at the top of the charts? Marketing is number one. But that wasn't even the most interesting thing when we looked at this. See, in the blue are the responses of the consumers. So they ask consumers, what do you think? And they say marketing. But then they ask marketers, what do you think is the least valuable profession in society? And 35% of marketers said, what should I do every day? Pretty much. So we're dealing with an industry that is being driven by people who don't feel as though the work that they do is valuable in the world. And I'll tell you a quick story of Jeff Benjamin, who's an amazing creative. I mean, he's an award-winning creative. He's won Cannes Lions. His campaigns were considered one of the top campaigns of the decade. And he's won every award that you can imagine. And he was telling us this story when we were interviewing for the book. He was telling us a story about how he was watching the movie Deep Impact. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen this movie, but it's this movie, and basically, large part of the plot is that there's this meteor that hits the Earth and essentially destroys it and threatens all of mankind. But then there are some survivors who actually want to rebuild civilization. They want to protect it, and they want to rebuild it the right way. And so there's this mountain, and they begin to bring in what they see as the best of humanity into the mountain. So they bring in doctors, and they bring in engineers, and they bring in scientists. And Jeff is looking at this, and he's saying, if I was there, they wouldn't bring me into the mountain. I wouldn't be one of the people that they bring in. And so he asked this question of himself and his industry, which is, how do we do work that gets us into the mountain? And so we were really interested in who were the people that were doing work that would get them into the mountain, that were enhancing humanity in ways that mattered. And so we went on this interesting journey to find out who were these people, who were these world changers that were creating these new models, and what can we learn from them? And it took us on this really fascinating journey. And we wound up talking to over close to 24 people around the country and beyond that were just doing amazing work that was really cool, and it was innovative, and they were finding ways of making money and creating billion-dollar businesses, but they were also impacting the greater good. Now, some of them worked at large corporations such as Citibank and some of the biggest, the Warby Parkers of the world, and these larger entities. Some of them were working in small entrepreneurial startups. Some of them were working at nonprofits. Actually, one of the people that we interviewed was Aria Finger from Do Something, I think, who's here today. And so we went and talked to them, and we asked them a series of questions to try to figure out what it is that we could share with everyone. And so what we did is we created these 7 principles, which we call the good is the new cool model. And I'll go through each of them, and we'll go a little bit deeper. The first is the importance of knowing your purpose. The second is find your allies. The third, think citizens, not consumers. 4th, lead with the cool. 5, don't advertise, solve problems. 6, people are the new media. And 7, back up the promise with the proof. So I'll start with this first one, know your purpose. Everyone that we talked to, what they all had in common, but they had a sense of an understanding of the purpose that they were, of what they wanted to accomplish. They knew their why. There was this quote from Mark Twain that we loved, and we actually started every interview with this quote. It said, the 2 most important days in your life, one the day you were born, and the second the day you found out, you realized why. And so we asked each of them, and some of them knew they had a very clear sense of purpose, and some of them just knew the purpose for the particular project, things they were working on. But they all had a clear sense of purpose. They knew what they wanted to accomplish, and it was something that kept them motivated and drove them to continue to do the work that they were doing. And so as much as we ask this about individuals, increasingly we're seeing that organizations are going to have to answer this question as well. Because as much as we talk about, for those in marketing, talking about the 4 Ps of marketing, of pricing and packaging and positioning and placement, increasingly the 5th P of marketing is going to be purpose. Because purpose is the thing that unites all of those things. You don't have a clear sense of purpose. You don't have a North Star for any of the rest of the things. And so the second thing that the lesson that we learned was the importance of finding your allies. As you're clear about what you want to accomplish and what your purpose is, find the people that also care about it. The people in your organization, other people that are doing the similar work in the world. We're seeing for-profit organizations partnering with nonprofits, partnering with celebrities and influencers, and we're seeing the most effective ones actually partnering with the communities that they actually want to impact and serve. But this idea that you can find your allies, that you don't have to be the savior or the hero, that you can go about it by forming coalition and allies and working with other people to impact a greater good and accomplish both business goals and social goals, was something that completely resonated time and time again. The third is the importance of thinking citizens, not consumers. This is something that you're seeing being vocalized by people across the world right now, which is this idea that I'm more than just the shoes that I wear or the soda that I drink or the car that I drive. I care about the quality of the world, I care about the quality of my community, I care about my brothers, I care about my sisters, I care about the environment. And the idea that brands have an opportunity now to talk to people in a much more multifaceted way than ever before is a huge opportunity for brands. And people are actually demanding to be engaged as citizens and not just as consumers. The next one, and this is so important, it's so relevant, obviously, in this space right here with PSFK, is the importance of leading with the cool. Even if you have the best intentions and you have the best idea of how to save the world and you have the best way of creating a greater impact and a greater good, if you want people to pay attention to it, if you want people to connect with it, if you want people to advocate for it, you have to lead with the cool. You have to find ways to make it beautiful, make it engaging, make it exciting, make it sexy. Bring in the people who can make those things possible and infuse that, and lead with that to draw people in. And then once you have them in, take them on the journey and show them how they can, through this product, through this offering, through this relationship, also impact something that really matters to them on a much deeper level. The next, don't advertise, solve problems. Brands that are not solving problems in our lives and not solving problems in the world will be replaced by those that are. Again, those that were not solving problems in the world and our lives are going to be replaced by those who are. And if you are not solving problems, if you don't understand the problems that matter to people, you need to find out and ask those questions. And right now, brands have an opportunity to solve problems from the everyday to the epic. And the brands that are really standing out are really finding ways to infuse solving problems in the world with their business models and their work. The next one is people are the new media. People control the narrative. We control the narrative. We control the conversation. And people can no longer buy their way into the conversation. You have to earn it. And the way that you earn it is by solving problems in our lives and doing things that really matter and things that connect with us. If you look at even some of the recent campaigns, such as Heineken's campaign, Open Your World, and some of these others, the people have made those campaigns take off in ways that no media buy could. And it's because it resonated with them in ways that really connected with what people felt is really important right now. The next one is back up the promise with the proof. We are at a point right now where transparency is not only demanded and which is essential, but it's also something that we all have the ability to use. We can find out anything that we want about anyone or any brand that we care about. So you have to back up the promise with the proof. If you say that you care about the quality of your business practices and everything that you do has to ladder up to that. If you care about the environment, if you care about creating a healthier world or doing any of these things that people care about, if you say those things, you have to back it up with the way that you create your products, the way that you market your products, the way that you connect with people, and the way that you communicate. Because if you don't, people will call bullshit on it. And we see every day people calling bullshit on someone who they experience as being a hypocrite. And so this idea that if you have to walk the walk is holding brands accountable in ways that we haven't seen before. But I think that is doing so in ways that's going to make brands so much better, so much stronger, and so much more thoughtful and smarter about the ways that they present themselves and the promises that they make to us. And so I'll leave you with this last slide. We spent a lot of time, and you've heard a lot of people, smart people, talking about a lot of great things that are happening, a lot of innovative things right now. But now it's up to you, and now it's up to us. For those of us that are in the field of creative and marketing and entrepreneurship, who actually give a damn about the quality of the world and want to do something to impact it, there's never been a better time to do the work that we do now. We have generations of people, billions of people around the world who we can form allies with. We have the biggest brands and some of the most ambitious and bold entrepreneurs creating solutions that need communications and ideas and innovation to help fuel it. And we have some of the biggest, most influential voices in popular culture around the world that are ready to lend their talents and their influence to help amplify it. And so our call everyone here today to do is to think about your why. Think about why you do the work that you do, the impact that you want to have in the world. And to use these principles in ways that help you to create that impact in ways that are really transformative, not only for the world and for the marketplace, but also for yourselves, in doing work that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel that you're doing something purposeful and doing something meaningful. And my hope is that for all of us, that we find that why and we find a way to bring this to life in ways that are really innovative and meaningful. That somehow, some way, we all find our way into that mountain. Thank you.